So guys, the WNBA have been talking about their most viral moments of the years. Obviously, number 5 most viral moment was I don't remember this happening. The number 6 most viral moment was I don't remember. Sorry, Jesus, I don't remember this happening. I actually mean this when I say this. I covered this league for a living. I don't remember this happening. The only viral Kelsey Plum thing was when she too small Danger Reese and the Centel post about
she could barely move on one leg, but what followed against Paige Bueckers was more than a matchup. It was complete domination. Fans are still stunned, especially because the WNBA actually shared the clip despite usually protecting certain narratives. This wasn't just another victory. It was a clear show of power that broke the image many had of the league's top favorite. The long-running debate over who truly sits at the top ended that day, right there on the floor, with one performance that changed everything. It silenced critics, shocked supporters, and delivered a message no one could ignore, a moment that will be remembered for a long time.
Was Stud Buds. To be fair, the Stud Buds at All-Star Weekend is absolutely belongs high. But I'm actually shocked that, first of all, this was higher. This was more important. But the WNBA actually posted this. When Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers matched up. This was an absolute... Like, this was a game where if you wanted to argue that Paige Bueckers was better than Caitlin Clark, you just couldn't anymore. This was like Caitlin was on one leg and she was taking the piss. She stole the ball 4 times off Paige. She blocked JJ Quinterly.
Picture a player clearly limited, yet still stealing the ball 4 separate times from the very opponent labeled her biggest threat. Caitlin Clark wasn't just competing. She was breaking everything down with precision. Paige Bueckers struggled to respond. Her decisions easy to predict and easy to counter. This performance wasn't defined by points alone. It was a lesson in defensive pressure, awareness, and smart basketball that left analysts surprised and opponents unsure of what hit them. The footage, whether leaked or unexpectedly shared, shows a level of control and planning rarely seen. It proved who was in command from start to finish and shocked fans who expected a far tighter battle.
You just couldn't anymore. This was like Caitlin was on one leg and she was taking the piss. She stole the ball 4 times off Paige. She blocked JJ Quinterly, screamed in her face, grabbed the ball and just looked up and launched a full court pass inch perfect to Sophie Cunningham. She, in fairness, Paige Bueckers caught her in the air and she went down looking like she had hurt herself on that one. Caitlin's stats wise, she had 13 assists in like 20 something minutes. She played 10 minutes less than Paige, so 13 assists. Paige Bueckers was the absolute, she was, as we call her,
the highlights tell the story. Clark blocked JJ Quinterly, let out a fiery shout, then instantly grabbed the ball and fired a perfect full court pass to Sophie Cunningham. It wasn't just a standout play, it was a message. She showed total control of the moment, mixing emotion, skill, and awareness in one sequence. That single stretch summed up the entire game. Even while hurt, Clark operated on a level no one expected, leaving fans and analysts questioning how she pulled it off under those conditions.
13 assists in like 20 something minutes. She played 10 minutes less than Paige, so 13 assists. Paige Bueckers was the absolute, she was, as we call her at times last season, she was the garbage time demon. She was the demon of garbage time last year. When it was a blowout, Paige Bueckers started cooking. When it was game over, Paige Bueckers started cooking at the end of that game to get her 20-something points. But it was like by the time Caitlin Clark had checked out of the game, Caitlin Clark had more points. I'm pretty sure it was more points, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks, and less turnovers. Like, it was genuinely crazy. It was crazy. It was.
Even after appearing to tweak her leg when Paige Bueckers made contact in midair, Clark never slowed down. She dished out 13 assists in just a little over 20 minutes, while playing about 10 minutes fewer than Paige. This wasn't an even matchup. It was a showcase of efficiency. Every minute Clark was on the floor mattered, and every possession felt purposeful. The stat line makes it clear she had a bigger impact in less time, while her counterpart struggled to match that pace. The gap in production, despite reduced minutes, says everything about her focus, talent, and refusal to let anything hold her back.
The real rivalry in WNBA, CC versus Caitlin. Caitlin had Paige in hell that game, read her like a book. The real rivalry, Paige greater than Angel, without the weird underlying animosity between players. I'm just putting it out there. I think Paige is more talented than Angel Reese. I think Angel was better. Angel has been better as a WNBA player. I think Angel as a rookie was better than Paige as a rookie. I think Angel literally dragged the Chicago Sky to multiple wins as a rookie. I think the Vegas win, she literally got 2 putbacks to win that game, even though she was terrible up to that point. The New York Liberty win, Angel willed them to the win. There were a couple of games where
Last season, Paige picked up the nickname Garbage Time Demon because most of her scoring came after games were already decided. This matchup followed the same pattern. She finished with around 20 points, but most of them came once Caitlin Clark was on the bench and the result was already sealed. That difference tells the real story. Clark shaped the game while it was still competitive, while Paige's production came after the pressure was gone. The footage makes it obvious who truly dictated the outcome when it mattered.
Certainly a memorable game. Coming in at number 7, it was a lot higher. To be fair, if it was number 7, show the highlights. Paige is so much better based on what? If you were talking about this game, I just remember like how the game was summarized in one photo. Yeah. How the game summarized in one photo. That was basically it. The rivalry the league wants. They have grown, bless their hearts. Aaliyah Boston, 80 foot, 4 steals and 13 assists on one leg. Like, she stripped Paige 4 times, and that was the funniest thing. Is everyone thought about turnovers. I'm like, Paige had more turnovers than Caitlin that game because Paige.
The stats from that matchup make the picture even clearer. Clark finished with more points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks than Paige Bueckers, and she did it while committing fewer turnovers. It wasn't just a win on the court, it was a clean sweep on the stat sheet. For anyone still claiming Paige had the edge, this game ended that discussion. The numbers speak plainly. Clark controlled every major category and set a standard Paige couldn't match. It was the kind of performance that settles the debate and reshapes how both players are viewed moving forward.
It's 20 times better than me, face the league. I don't think Paige Bueckers thinks that. And by the way, one thing I like is that you're starting to see Paige become Paige again, by the way. Like, if you saw this, for lack of a better word, like the swag and freedom that Paige played with in high school, and then that was kind of gone out of her at UConn. And like, I think we're seeing a little bit more Paige. We're seeing a little bit more her being Paige. And if Paige is Paige and Paige fixes the mentality issues that she's had over the last 2 years I don't mean these in mentality issues. Mentality issues is in like the mentality of, oh, I'm just going to, I just want to fit in and not.
What makes the footage even more surprising is that the WNBA posted it themselves. Many fans believe the league has been more focused on promoting Paige Bueckers as the face of the future, which makes this decision feel unexpected. But Clark's performance was so strong and so convincing that it couldn't be overlooked. Even if the clip didn't match the league's usual narrative, sharing it showed just how powerful that game was. It cut through any perceived bias and made recognition unavoidable, adding yet another layer to what Clark accomplished.
So it's going to happen, but I'm still shocked. I'm actually considering what the WNBA have been doing, considering their mentality towards Caitlin Clark as a league, and them really wanting to push Paige Bueckers as the face, even though Paige Bueckers, nobody watches Paige Bueckers play basketball. And that's just the unfortunate thing, is that in fairness to Paige Bueckers is an unbelievable social media following. She actually does. She's an unbelievable social media following. The TikTok people love making their edits of Paige Bueckers because they have these weird parasocial relationships with her and AZ Foot. They're like K-pop stans, but they don't actually watch basketball. But anyway, yeah, I'll see you guys.
A single photo from that game summed up everything. It showed just how completely Clark controlled the matchup, capturing the tone of the rivalry without needing any caption at all. The image spread quickly because it perfectly reflected who set the pace that day. It's now remembered as a defining snapshot of when one player firmly took the spotlight. What makes Clark's performance even more impressive is that scoring wasn't her priority. She spent most of the game focused on creating opportunities for teammates and applying pressure on defense. That level of control, while not even hunting for points, turned a strong showing into something truly memorable. It highlighted her basketball intelligence and her ability to guide every part of the game without forcing shots for herself. The difference in mentality between the two players was noticeable. Paige Bueckers has sometimes been criticized for holding back rather than taking command, not because of mental health issues, but because she can be reluctant to demand the ball when the moment calls for it. That tendency to defer, even when she's capable of more, has limited her natural edge and presence on the floor. The footage indirectly brings that contrast to the surface. Many fans remember the confidence and freedom Paige played with in high school. Aggressive, bold, and unafraid to take over. But at UConn and in this matchup, that spark seemed reduced. Against Clark, those quieter tendencies became clearer, showing how much mindset can shape impact. We're finally seeing flashes of Paige's old confidence again, but her matchup with Clark showed what happens when that aggressive mindset isn't fully there. It highlighted the gap in how both players approach pressure. One fully assertive, the other sometimes too careful. This contrast also connects to the ongoing debate about Angel Reese and Paige Bueckers. Paige is extremely skilled, but Angel has repeatedly shown an ability to push her team to wins, even as a rookie. She helped carry the Chicago Sky through tight games by making decisive plays when it mattered most, showing a competitive drive that Paige hasn't always displayed. Angel's first season offered clear examples. 2 clutch putbacks against Las Vegas and a determined effort that powered the Sky past the New York Liberty, even on nights when her own game wasn't perfect. She still affected winning. Paige often kept her teams close, but closing out games wasn't always her strength. In that sense, Clark's performance against Bueckers becomes more than a highlight. It's a demonstration of the mentality that separates great players from those still searching for that edge. It showed what it looks like when a player takes full control of the moment. There's also history behind it. UConn was reportedly 3-0 against Iowa and Clark before this matchup, and in one of those meetings Paige didn't even play. That made this particular win even more meaningful. It wasn't just another result. It broke a streak and completely shifted the storyline around the rivalry. One game flipped years of momentum, and fans felt the impact immediately. And as the season's most talked about moments were collected, that game consistently surfaced. It wasn't just remembered, it became a reference point for what dominance looks like when a player refuses to let the moment pass them by. Even with big moments like Candace Parker performing with Usher and the Stubbud skit at All-Star Weekend, the Clark Bueckers game ranked unusually high on the WNBA's viral list. It outshone many moments the league actively promoted, showing just how impactful and shocking that performance was. Its placement was a clear acknowledgement of Clark's dominance, impossible to ignore even if it didn't fit the league's usual narratives. The real rivalry in the WNBA isn't just Clark versus Bueckers. It's often the established league structure versus rising star power. The league may favor certain players or storylines, but when someone like Clark delivers a performance that's undeniable, it disrupts any carefully crafted plan. The Clark-Bueckers matchup became a flashpoint in this tension, exposing the clash between on-court reality and commercial strategy. Paige Bueckers undeniably has massive social media influence. Her TikTok videos, often centered on food and fan interactions, reach audiences far beyond basketball fans. But the viral footage of Clark dominating Bueckers sent a stark message. Popularity doesn't equal basketball supremacy. Social media fame can't replace real in-game impact, a fact that surprised even casual viewers. Despite the WNBA's push to present Paige as a leading face of the league, the hard truth remains. Her game viewership lags far behind Clark's, even if her follower counts are massive. That reality makes the league's decision to highlight Clark's performance even more striking, underscoring just how extraordinary and unavoidable her dominance was. It's a subtle acknowledgement that even the league's preferred narratives can be overturned by a performance that's impossible to ignore. Certainly, Paige Bueckers will have her victories over Caitlin Clark in the future, and players like Angel Reese, Ryan Howard, and Kate Martin have had their moments too. Basketball is about matchups and evolving skill. But what makes this particular footage so striking is that it captured a career-defining performance. Despite the circumstances, even with an injury, Clark dominated her rival in a way that reshaped perceptions instantly. It wasn't just a game, it was a revelation. Hierarchies were upended, debates silenced, and the power of sheer talent and will on the court was undeniable. This moment proves that true dominance and relentless determination always cut through the noise. Fans were left stunned, arguments settled, and a lasting impression etched into the history of the sport. The echoes of that game will be felt for years to come.